Welcome to the Roman Cleveland Classic on FS1. Downtown Cleveland, folks, got a great matchup for you as the West Virginia Mountaineers, number 22 in the country. The road team today, doesn't feel like it. Ohio State, number 2 in the land. Feels like a home team for both squads here this afternoon. We're walking courtside, everybody, along with Donnie Marshall, Jeff Levering with you. A great atmosphere today. It feels like Ohio State's been playing conference games for the last month, but this is a great test for West Virginia today, too.
It feels like an NCAAB tournament atmosphere, really does. Ohio State, Chris Holtmann has done a phenomenal job in only his 3rd season at the helm, and then on the other side, Huggy Bear, Bob Huggins. We understand who he is. We know how his teams are going to play. This is going to be a great one today, Jeff.
Feels like a throwback to your Big East days, Donnie, right? It's all about the big men today.
That's it. Bigs, bigs, bigs. Now, there are some good guards in this game, but this game is going to be focusing on Derek Culver, Oscar Tshiebwe on the other side for West Virginia. They're going to have to do a good job of playing as those Twin Towers, playing aggressive, setting the tone early for the Mountaineers today.
See our starting lineups, starting 5, McCabe, Haley, Matthews, Jr., Tshiebwe, and Culver. A lot of size there for West Virginia. For Ohio State, some speed, Walker, Muhammad, Wesson, Young, and Caleb Wesson. And for you, Donnie, Caleb Wesson, who has totally transformed his body over the last 6 months. More, I don't want to say that he's more determined this year, but he has made some significant changes to his game and his body.
I tested those NBA waters in the summer, if you will, and he got some great feedback. Had to work on his body. He has to stay on the floor for Chris Holtmann, and the way you do that is through endurance. He sheds so much in body fat and in weight. One of these guys we talked about with Chris Holtmann, gonna have to stay out of foul trouble. That's a tall task against the front line of West Virginia.
There's not a lot of depth behind Caleb Wesson for Ohio State. Kyle Young is going to play a big factor today as well on that front line for Ohio State. Ready to tip things off from Cleveland. A lot of red and a lot of yellow in the stands. A great crowd this afternoon in Cleveland.
Heard some boos when the Ohio State guys came out. Maybe some residual effects from last night's football game.
Oh, man. It was a long, grind-em-out football game for Ohio State. You feel bad that somebody had to lose that one. As we look at Bob Huggins, 870 wins. He is one of the best that has ever coached in the NCAA. Only a couple away from passing Adolph Rupp for 7th all-time. In the all-time wins list, Chris Holtmann, we talked about him in his 3rd season. And what he's done with this program and with every program that he has been associated with has been amazing.
Done a terrific job, waited his turn at Butler, got them to the highest level. Comes here and hits the ground running. Remember, 3 years ago when he got here in the summer, it was June. That's late for coaches to take over, and he's done a terrific job.
Ohio State controls. And we'll see the Buckeyes on offense, averaging nearly 80 points a game. They've had some massive wins in the non-conference. 1-1 in conference play already in the Big Ten. Immediately a look down low. And a turnover forced by West Virginia. Active hands all afternoon long from the Mountaineers.
Yeah, Wesson to Wesson, and Andre has to be able to finish that. Maybe a head fake. Hate starting games with turnovers. Got to stay aggressive.
See a lot of inside action. They immediately go down low and a push-off. They'll get Jermaine Haley, the senior, with a personal foul.
That's Virginia foul number 10. Haley.
Again, we see the ball going inside, which is exactly what both teams understand is important to set the tone for these games. But Haley has to just go straight up, use your athleticism. Bob Huggins will go 10, 11. He'll play every guy on the bench if he has to. So don't worry about your fouls.
Yeah, depth is not a problem with West Virginia this year, even despite losing 8 guys from last year's team and a 2nd consecutive turnover for the Buckeyes. Underneath, Culver. And we're going to get an offensive foul. We're going to get a push on Tshiebwe.
And it feels like an NCAA tournament game. A couple turnovers on one end, couple offensive fouls on the other. These are tough games. You have to understand, take a deep breath, jitters. Which team can get themselves calmed down first? Important early.
And for both teams, they haven't played since last week Saturday. Long layoff and some rust maybe. They go down low to Wesson. And you're already starting to see the effect down low. Sheboy and Culver have been all over the front line.
Good entry pass. And didn't really have control of that ball with the left hand, but terrific defense. I'd like to see the ball move sides of the floor, and then you hit somebody coming maybe a little misdirection instead of the old school post up on that side and grind it out early. Got to get something easy. Get yourselves going.
I'll give Sheboy that all afternoon long. Got his own rebound and a offensive foul on Sheboy. That's his second. And Bob Huggins less than pleased.
Well, the shot's going to be there. Caleb Wesson does a great job of letting Sheboy get that ball. And if you're Sheboy, all you have to do is catch that. Don't be in a hurry. I think both teams right now are just sped up a little bit too much. You got to take it down one click, move the ball a few times. Don't be so anxious to score the first basket.
You see the junior Osaboyan on the floor for the first time. Wesson trying to go spin move and another turnover. That's the third by the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I thought that was a trip. I thought he made a really good move. And I thought he just got his legs taken out from under him. I think Chris Holton and I agree on that one.
We're 2 minutes into this ball game and we get to see a shot, really, in anything go through the hoop. And finally, Culver puts points on the board.
It's kind of one of those things we talked to Coach Huggins about earlier. He said, you know, the kid's making 15, 16-foot jump shots, and even I'm impressed by it.
Not really his game is Kyle Young.
There you go.
Kyle Young.
He's scrappy. Entry pass inside, and Wesson had it go off his hands. It'll stay with West Virginia. Both these offenses early, and credit the defense, but just a little disjointed, Donnie.
Yeah, a little too clogged up, too. The spacing is not great. That happens early in games when you're anxious.
McCabe for three.
And that's just not his shot. He's shooting 13% on the season. West Virginia can live with that. Or I'm sorry, Ohio State can live with that.
Pull-up jumper by C.J. Walker. Transfer from Florida State, been a big-time difference maker for Ohio State this year.
CJ's started all but one game for Florida State back in the 17-18 season, so he's seasoned.
He comes away with a steal this time, trying to finish it off. And we're going to get a out of bounds off of Walker. He was trying to use his body to create a little space.
And sometimes when you focus on getting the contact, Jeff, you forget about the ball, and that one just slipped out of his hand. He was so focused on getting that foul. Priority is get the basket and then get the foul after.
Matthews, difficult shot on the step back. Ohio State's going to take these tough-looking shots from West Virginia all afternoon long. Wesson backing himself down, and a foul. Matthews got him.
West Virginia foul number 11.
And just a little bit of a mismatch. Great recognition by Walker to see his big with a guard or a small forward behind him down in that block.
Wesson shooting two.
Wesson 78% from the foul line. Yeah, Wesson makes the first. And what Wesson's been able to do in his career at Ohio State, see the rebounding numbers skyrocket this year. And I believe a lot of that has to do with just his conditioning and staying on the floor.
Yeah, I'm telling you, coaches work on it all the time to make free throws when you're tired, but it's easier said than done. And you shed that much weight and body fat, it's easier to get your breath, find that second wind, and be more calm at the free throw line.
All those workouts in the boxing ring, that helps. Dish over to Osaboyan, tough shot, and a rebound pulled down by Andre Wesson. Defense swarming for the Buckeyes. DJ Carton on the floor for the first time for Ohio State. And a foul, no, out of bounds, excuse me. And another turnover, the 5th by Ohio State. Defensive struggle early in Cleveland, 5-2 Buckeyes.
Roman, the Digital Health Medical.
15:51 to play here in this first half, 5-2 Ohio State. DJ Carton was so big in that win against Kentucky last week.
And really doesn't play like a freshman, plays like a junior or a senior, can score the ball, great vision, but what I love most about him, he's unselfish, and, oh, by the way, he's what they call nowadays a two-way player. Defends, good block there, and this is how special he is. Take a look at him. Right side of your screen, his vision is tremendous defensively. He sees the ball. He understands that he may have to go across and help. There's 2-on-1 on that side. And also not losing sight of his man to his left. And the most special thing about this kid is he defends without fouling. That's great anticipation. Some of those things that he has, you can't teach. You know, either you have him as a player or you don't. And let me tell you, folks, this kid has them. He has them all.
Mr. Basketball in the state of Iowa last year as a drive to the rack and a foul. Jermaine Haley with a strong drive and a chance to tie the game.
I like Jermaine Haley. He's creative. He's a terrific finisher around the rim, as you're going to see here. Nice little jab step. Sees he's got the quick step on Weston and just finishes softly. I mean, you talked about it earlier. You know, there's not a lot of depth inside for Ohio State when you talk about their bigs. So when Caleb Weston goes to the bench, the priority has to be put the ball on the floor and get to the rim. There's no shot blocker. There's really not a huge body inside. That means you got to keep your spacing and stay aggressive.
We're going to get a foul on the rebound attempt by Derek Culver. Already foul trouble. Shibwe got 2 fouls in the first minute and a half of this game. Haven't seen him since. Culver just picked up his first. And already 5 team fouls for West Virginia as Carton drives. And a kick to Walker. C.J. Walker with the 3.
McCabe has to do a better job of getting up into the ball. Walker checked the wind direction. I mean, he catches it, finds the spine of the basketball or the seams. You got to run a guy off of that line. Ohio State's awesome when they catch and shoot. If you want some success, you got to make guys put the ball on the floor on that perimeter.
And a steal nearly by Luther Muhammad. Out of bounds, another turnover by West Virginia, their 4th. Again, here's C.J. Walker. Plenty of time to think and shoot.
Yeah, DJ to C.J. Carton finds him. He sees, because they're spacing, he sees his partner cross court, but you got to close out. Ohio State is tremendous at the catch and shoot. They space you out. They have good guys who can catch it with their feet underneath them. I think the challenge for Ohio State is trying to score off the dribble, and defensively you got to do a better job.
Carton a little out of control on the drive, an offensive foul. Gabe Osaboyan there to draw it. Ohio State's got a DJ, they've got a CJ and an EJ all on the floor right now.
DJ that time did his best to try to avoid the contact, but still, he's young, he's a freshman. Young guys, guards especially, get caught in the air at times. But for him, I'm assuring you that it's only going to take him one time to learn from that mistake.
Already the 6th turnover by the Buckeyes as McBride. Another whistle down low. Foul on Ohio State. And they'll get Dwayne Washington on the personal.
Dwayne Washington Jr. his first, team 3rd.
4-point lead for Ohio State. Nearly a steal, and nope, going to stay with West Virginia. It looked like referee Terry Weimer was going to start pointing this way as C.J. Walker was lobbying.
Yeah, I think that ball, I don't know, that's a tough one. Officials are right on top of it. We got 3 or 4 replays. Tough job for them.
Real time is, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Got to go 2 to shoot. McBride buries the 3. Shot clock winding down.
I mean, that's a 32% three-point shooter, but sometimes you just need guys to step up and make big shots.
On the other end, there's the answer from C.J. Walker.
And I really believe C.J. Walker makes that shit. If he doesn't make his first one, the cross-court pass from Carton, maybe that one doesn't go, but that basket gets a little bit bigger when you make your first shot.
Came in shooting 39% from beyond the arc. Osaboyan to McBride. Nice run we're on. 3 straight threes.
Miles McBride.
There's the offense we've been looking for.
And in different ways, too. West Virginia doing it kind of individually. Ohio State off the pass. What they're best at.
Wesson trying to back himself down, fades away. Nice shot over the top of Ruff.
Yeah, you and I were talking off air about who he resembles. That move right there reminded me of a LaMarcus Aldridge. Little fall away, soft touch. Not an over elevator, if you will. Not going to jump over guys. Just great feel.
Got all the skills. Step back 3. And off the mark from McNeil. C.J. Walker for 3. He was feeling it. Bit of a heat check.
Only difference there is his last 2 shots came off of passes. Not his, though. McBride has found his own offense his last 3 buckets.
Averaging nearly 8 points off the bench at a Moeller High School in Cincinnati. Huggins wanted to push off. Wesson. Wide open 3. Washington.
That's what they do, Jeff. They space you out. They get their feet set. Even Washington there looked down to make sure he was behind the 3-point line. That's just too much time for Ohio State guards to be out there shooting shots through West Virginia. Too comfortable.
Driving a foul. They'll get Liddell on the personal. Miles McBride making his presence felt for West Virginia.
Yeah, a little jab step. Not really out of any offense. You love to have players who can find their own. And here using a nice little screen.
Yeah, I'll get back.
Scored the last 8 for the Mountaineers. Osaboyan. This is the first. We talked about their schedule a bit. West Virginia with their non-conference wins over Pitt, Northern Iowa, I should say, Wichita State, big one against Rhode Island. Their only loss of the year was at St. John's in the Big 12 Big East battle.
And that game was similar to the way this game started, although they've worked their way back, just turning the ball over. Their timing was really off. They were crowded. They fought back in that game and lost on a controversial call towards the end of that at the very end. But that's, to me, Bob Huggins' teams. You think they're down and out, and they fight their way back. They got a lot of character. He told us before the game he just likes his guys because they care. And they don't hear that a lot about when you talk to coaches. My guys really care.
Liddell loses the handle. Trying to rip it away, and we're going to get a jump ball. And it will go to West Virginia. Offense starting to wake up for both teams. 16-13 Ohio State and Cleveland. Welcome back to the Roman Cleveland Classic on FS1. 16-13, Ohio State out in front of West Virginia. Great non-conference action. Let's go inside the huddle with head coach Chris Holtman of Ohio State.
Hey, we're running a cross screen right there. Grab the ball. Post, catch it where you want it. Man's game. You got to make those plays. Catch it with 2 hands. Catch it. Catch balls with your eyes and your feet. Don't reach. Catch balls with your eyes and your feet. You hear me?
Gotta love it, man. He's just such a great teacher. Listen, we're blessed if you're a college basketball fan with some amazing coaches across the country. And you have to throw, obviously, Bob Huggins, but Chris Holtman, who's a younger coach, he just knows how to communicate with the kids, to teach them, to get them back calm. And it's simple. You forget sometimes, fundamentally, you just have to be more sound. And he tells you, catch it with your eyes and your feet. Be ready. Make those plays. I love it.
Culver short on his shot. Wesson pulls down another rebound. He's been on the floor the entire game as Osaboyan picks up a
silly one.
Cheap foul.
You just don't need it. The ball's secured. The most important thing for you is to be able to stay on the floor. You're talking about a guy who he's not going to play 25 minutes. So that means every second on the floor you have to make the priority. You have to make it important. And those reach-in fouls hurt you as a team and as an individual.
And you see the pressure, the steal, and free throws coming from Miles McBride. And you knew eventually you'd see some pressure from Bob Huggins.
Yeah, I tell you what, McBride is doing a terrific job. You know, it's freshman versus freshman. He had Carton in front of him and said, I'm going right at you, put my shoulder to your chest. Made a couple shots already. And these are the kind of guys you want to be able to step up in games like this. Terrific football player, threw 17 touchdowns in 5 games before an injury when he was in high school. Man, that's an athlete, and then decided, you know what, I'm going to focus on basketball.
Moeller High School is a sports factory.
And football especially. In Cincinnati, I mean, that is a special athlete.
Football, basketball, baseball. Barrett Larkin went there.
Yeah.
A great program history of Moeller. C.J. Walker's having a nice first half. 8 points for him for Ohio State. Muhammad on the take. And he's going to go to the line almost. Got it to roll in for a chance at a three-point play. Culver's going to pick up the foul. It's his second. Foul trouble big time for West Virginia's front line.
Luther Muhammad out of Newark. New Jersey just has that. You can see that he has that city game too. The nice handle. Really competes.
It's a guy who puts his defense ahead of his offense a lot of times, but something this Ohio State program hasn't had in a while. They've got a couple of point guards that can run the floor. Muhammad, one of them. DJ Carton can run the floor. Just to have that depth at the one position, so important.
Muhammad he had a great start as a freshman last year. Sometimes you hit that freshman wall, and it's not always all bad because you remember that your sophomore year and say, okay, how do I approach this season much better? And he's done that. His hands.
Oh, Walker with another steal. His hands have been active all afternoon. Weston short on the three.
Even that one, he could have checked the wind direction. There was no one within about 6-7 feet of him.
He does have that shot in his game. And it's something at the next level that you kind of have to have in today's NBA world.
Almost 46% coming into today from behind the arc. I love that for the big.
Another steal from Ohio State. Wesson. This time he held up on it. Walker to his right. Muhammad three. Rimmed in and out. Offensive rebound. Kyle Young thought he got fouled. Ends up with it on the ground. Kyle Young, right place, right time. Jump ball. Buckeyes basketball.
Yeah, when you talk to Chris Holtmann about Young, he says he competes. He's relentless. He never quits. He's got a little stinger, looks like, on that. It's called the funny bone. I still don't know why they call it. It's not funny.
There's nothing funny about it, Donnie. It hurts. It feels like you got 1,000 bees. It's terrible. Trying to get through it. Having Kyle Young healthy this year, 100% healthy, what a difference maker for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, you need guys who give you so much. You know, he's probably not going to wow you with one thing, but he's going to compete. Wesson's he's got to be the leader and say, you know what, earlier in this game, I made a little fall away off of my left foot. That's how you create space. I think that's what that play called for, not the pass to a teammate, 3 feet away under the basket.
And Kyle Young was even telling him, hey, go up with it, big fella. Go up with it.
Listen, my teammates only had to tell me shoot the ball one time, and that was it. The beginning of and that was it. And I was shooting it every time after that.
Especially in this building. Nice drive by McBride, but right into a wall. Here comes Walker. Couldn't finish.
And that's terrific defense without fouling. You're backpedaling. All you can do is elevate and get in the way.
Sherman was going for the drive and was fouled before any shot. 6th team foul for the Buckeyes.
His first, team 6.
First 4 minutes of this game, not a lot of offense. Second segment, tons of offense. This third 4-minute segment, it's gotten a little disjointed again.
Well, that's how you have to look at it. You have to look at it as four-minute games. You know, in that first half, just 4-minute blocks. Let's get to that next time out. And I think the first half were 10 minutes. And they've made some adjustments on both sides.
Under 90 seconds away from that second segment. Sheboy back on the floor with those 2 fouls. Picked them up in the first 90 seconds of this game. Good shot that time from the elbow by Chase Harler. Pure shooter Harler.
Worked hard on that jumper this summer. They need that from the upperclassmen. Don't have to be spectacular, just be solid.
Washington fires away in an air ball.
And so that's the difference with Ohio State. Catch and shoot, and probably with a lot of teams, but for today's purposes, Ohio State's much more comfortable on the drive, kick, feed, or set. Well, they have to kind of do it on their own and step backs. It makes them a little bit more uncomfortable. Great defensive play there by West Virginia.
Nearly another steal by Washington. Long 2, short. Crashing the glass per usual. West Virginia and a foul underneath.
Miles McBride, just such a tremendous athlete, terrific feel. And he can play both guard positions, but I just love the way he fights. You know, there are a lot of coaches you can say this about, but I know one thing. If you're not making shots, if you're not throwing dimes, good passes, you can stay on the floor for Bob Huggins if you compete. And that's what McBride is doing. He's made a couple shots, but boy, he is competing hard.
See Wesson coming back onto the floor, and Cleveland native Alonzo Gaffney did not play in the game against Kentucky last weekend. Fun for him in a homecoming game.
Another guy, gifted athlete, nice shooting touch, is yet to really find it this season, but
more pressure from West Virginia. Just a 1-point game and 8.5 minutes to play in this first half. Weston tries again from 3. Getting closer.
I'd like that pick and roll to be a little bit lower, so he's more around that 16-foot range than behind that 3, because you keep missing those that are almost there. Sometimes you start chasing them and you keep trying to make them and not taking the right shot.
10 to shoot for West Virginia. McBride. Almost. He hit an earlier shot from 3 with 2 seconds on the shot clock. That one wouldn't fall for him.
Walker right in his face, though. He understood. He looked at the clock at the other end, knew it was winding down.
Wesson backing down Sheboy. Cross-court pass. And Sheboy with another rebound. This is a situation where if you're on the offensive end and you're Wesson, you go right at Sheboy with those 2 fouls.
Absolutely.
At 3 on the other end, there's Harler. First lead for West Virginia. Mountaineer faithful on their feet in Cleveland. Bowl season rolls on tomorrow on Fox. Got Cal taking on Lovie Smith's resurgent Illinois squad in the Red Box Bowl. Catch all the action starting at 3:30 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Back with you in Cleveland. Bob Huggins taking notice of some floor adjustments in the last media timeout. So we're in an NBA arena, Donnie, and there are no coaches' boxes for college, so we had to step them off and lay down the masking tape, and rules and regulations have to be followed.
Listen, depending on how the game goes, my college coach would rip that tape right off the floor, Jim Calhoun. I don't care about this tape. That's if we're playing poorly right now. Bob Huggins, his team started to find a little flow, holding Ohio State 0 for their last 7 trips, but that call right there, that'll kill your momentum. And Huggy Bear does not like it.
No, he picked up a foul on Matthews, and he didn't agree with it. Even though he's got the stool, and we mentioned the tape just a couple of moments ago, he is going to be flirting with that line quite a bit. Washington Jr. going to go to the line. Both teams in the bonus. So in Washington, see his numbers on the season.
Will shoot 1-1.
1-1 for Washington at the line. Trying to put some points on the board. We had 7 empty possessions in a row for Ohio State. They've missed 5 straight threes as well. See the development of the sophomore Washington from his freshman year to his sophomore year.
Much more efficient. Still scores in bunches. You got to always know where he is on the floor when you're on defense.
Good bloodlines. Uncle is Derek Fisher.
Yeah.
Won a couple of championship rings. We're going to get a foul underneath. And where's this one going? Officials going to get together. Haley went down. What do you got here, Donnie?
Well, I think you ran into your own player.
Yeah.
That should be a travel, in my opinion. Well, that's a travel. I know they're saying inadvertent whistle, but you run into your own player. That ball should be Ohio State's ball. Without question, that's a travel.
The whistle came from the baseline where the official may have been screened and thought there was some contact that wasn't there.
And may have anticipated there being something. You got to see it as a ref. You can't just assume something happened, because that's an
offensive foul on Brandon Napper, who is coming in.
I tell you what, this is the way to step up defensively. A lot of times when you think, hey, we just got robbed on that last play, it should be our ball, players will hang their heads, especially in a game like this. And that's a great job by Weston stepping in, standing his ground. And now West Virginia fans probably think that Napper was already on the ground. Might have been a little bit of a flop. Boy.
And they're going to get another whistle. Again, it's Emmett Matthews. Yeah, Bob Huggins is beside himself with the amount of whistles that are being blown right now.
And the problem is the game started off, I thought it was all on the players. Turning the ball over, maybe some jitters, offensive fouls. Now there are a lot of whistles, a missed travel call. You got a good crew here, but sometimes they get caught up in the emotion of the building and you know how big this game feels like it could be or is in their minds. And I know Huggins is going to let them know. Chris Holtmann, he finds his spots of where to tell the officials. Huggy Bear more boisterous, and he'll let everyone in the building know how he feels, which I like. You want some flow in a game that is herky-jerky, and you can't get it when you're stopping every 2 plays.
Well, do you think about what Huggins, he might be setting something up for the second half too, where he's mentioning something that just happened, but hey, listen, maybe I'm going to get that call in the second half.
You know, you like the game if you're a team that doesn't shoot it great from the perimeter or from 3. You like it to gum it up and to junk it up, but you want to be in control of that. You don't want the officials to control how herky-jerky or how smooth the game is.
Napper off the bench, nice shot. He is not shy on taking his shots, we know that.
And it's a nice set. Keeps you guys back in order.
C.J. Walker creates his own from the elbow. Walker's had a nice afternoon in double figures. Around the edge, Haley. And then another second opportunity. And Matthews.
I love his game long. He's got a huge upside out of Tacoma, Washington. My neck of the woods where I grew up. I mentioned to him before the game, my high school beat his high school. Federal Way beat Wilson High School yesterday. He actually told me, Emmett Matthews, I'm like, sorry about that.
We're getting another foul on Sheboy. That is his 3rd. So he's going to be coming out here pretty soon. Bob Huggins can ill afford to keep him on the floor with those 3 fouls.
Caleb Wesson shooting 2.
Osaboyan's going to check in for him. Wesson's going to shoot a couple after he takes a walk. Shibwe has been almost a non-factor. 3 rebounds, but 3 fouls to go along with it, plus a turnover.
Yeah, he's only taken 1 shot. And you know, the offensive foul earlier off of the jump shot he missed.
Wesson missed the first. Makes the second. 1-point lead for Ohio State. See what West Virginia comes up with on the offensive end. Inside Matthews. Matthews 3. And it's over the glass and out of bounds. Ohio State so active on the defensive end.
Yeah, they make you uncomfortable. I mean, they're just fundamentally sound. The way that starts, though, is with your communication, Jeff. That's how any good defensive team finds their success early on. You have to talk. Guys have to be on a string. As we say, you move one way, I got to lean your way. The next guy comes with me. They do that so well, and then obviously they're athletic enough to get to close guys out.
Pretty young team when you look at the roster as well. Muhammad from the free throw line, an offensive rebound. Liddell, fresh 20. Muhammad, second chance, made that one.
And a very unselfish team, Ohio State. About 16 assists a game. They talk about a team that cares about one another. And you assume every college team, they care. But when you hear your coaches tell you, hey, our guys really, they like each other. They enjoy playing together. They care about the game. No better way to show you care than to help a teammate out with an assist.
And there's a level of that where you can be a little unselfish too much to where you're not trying to create your own shot. We saw it with Wesson earlier down low where he's trying to get his players involved when he should be a little more selfish at times.
Yeah, especially if you're the leader of your team. They look to you to make big shots and to make tough shots. And that's why you're in the position that the coach puts you in, if you're Caleb Wesson especially.
Matthews earns his second free throw opportunity.
Like it. Length, does a little bit of everything, Jeff. He's really worked hard. I think last season tried to do too much. And sometimes, you know, I always think of it because I love the game of golf. When you try to hit 300-yard bombs, drives, and you try to make 20-foot putts, and you try to get up and down, you got to take one thing, and it's in golf, and try to perfect that and then move on to the next. Basketball is similar. Become a great offensive rebounder or a great free throw shooter, a great defender, and then move on. And Matthews has started to figure that out this season.
He's always been a great rebounder, especially in the offensive end.
I still like hitting 300-yard drives, so the other stuff will come.
I don't know what that feels like, so I'm just
the other stuff will come.
Trying to go for the short cross. That's all I'm looking for. Nice drive, Washington, too strong, tapped out Liddell. Into the hands of Napper. Napper drives, it is floater. Not to be, we got some elbows flying around. We're gonna get a foul on Culver. That's his second.
And you're really not stealing this ball. I know your emotions get going, but this is when you gotta just get back. Now, if you don't have that thing tied up off of the rebound with the opponent, you got to just run back, especially for a guy like Culver. And I know he's
shooting 2.
He's trying to find his game a little bit. He's got 2 points. He's not really probably feeling too good about what he's doing offensively.
Culver, we talked about him in the beginning. Him and Chibwe have been non-factors. 2 points, handful of rebounds, but 5 fouls between the two of them.
And I bet if we asked Chris Holtman at halftime, would you ever imagine that this is what you could hold the bigs West Virginia to with 4:30 to play in the first half? You say, no, you're crazy. Their focus was just staying out of foul trouble, Ohio State, and they've done just that.
Yeah, Weston with no fouls in this game with those bigs of West Virginia. And granted, Chibwe has been on the floor very much, but nonetheless, he's done a really nice job keeping himself out of trouble. Spinning around, Matthews had it altered by Liddell. And Liddell still has it. Gets rid of it to Carton. Carton's been quiet to this point. Extra pass into the corner. Beautiful.
That's what they do. Unselfish spacing the floor.
7-point lead, largest of the game for Ohio State. Making that extra pass from Muhammad. Step back three, Harler not to be, and we're getting an offensive foul on route. Watch this ball whip around. All right, thanks, Mike. 7-point lead, largest lead of the game for Ohio State. And Donnie, time for the Lexus playbook.
Yeah, this is what makes Ohio State so good. You'll see G.J. Carton right there. He understands guys are going to be here. Let that thing run. The spacing is what is so awesome about what Ohio State does. Look at this. You got shooters on the perimeter. You almost got 3 out, 4 out, 1 in, but stopping the ball and getting your feet together defensively is one, the first key. And then two, even if it's not your guy, if you're a West Virginia defender, just find a body. And you know that guys like Carton and Walker are going to keep, even Muhammad, they're going to keep the ball alive with their dribble to find an open teammate. They're just a much better team when their feet are set, Ohio State. It's an easier game.
As you mentioned, very unselfish, and when that ball is moving around the way that it is, it's 6 assists on 9 makes today. Going to be a tough team to beat. Number 2 in the country for a reason. They've played a really tough schedule, Ohio State, early, and they've won every test with the exception of Minnesota at Minnesota. And you look at the Big Ten schedule, and everybody had trouble on the road.
Yeah, and their balance. That's what Ohio State, I think, makes them so special is they have great balance on the perimeter, inside, and in between. They have interchangeable parts. But this West Virginia team, you know, they're hard to scout against because they have bigs. It's hard to emulate that in practice. And they have guys who can compete.
A good test as we came on the air talking about Liddell for 3. Not necessarily his shot.
He's made 2 this season out of 14. And you know what? I just remember playing with guys saying, he's like, he shoots the ball, and he's like, well, I'm open. Oh, there's a reason you're open. The defense wants you to be open.
Napper, on the other hand, very skilled at scoring the basketball. Makes another 3. 4 out of 9 now for West Virginia.
And he only plays about 9 minutes a game, Napper, and he gets in there and makes it count.
Tough drive by Muhammad. We're going to get a foul on Ohio State on that rebound attempt. They'll get Liddell.
Reporting for the Buckeyes.
And this is how good our officiating crew is. Now, listen, I know Huggins might not agree with me because the game's been a little bit herky-jerky, but, you know, Terry and Burton Brook, they're conversating with the players. You know, they're having some communication of what happened. They're not just saying, listen, play basketball. They're telling them what they need to do, why there wasn't a foul called. I like that. Love when your officials communicate with the players.
To make them better in the long run, too. Get another whistle down low. Some hand fighting. And if they get Culver, and they will, that's number 3 on Derek Culver. So now those 2 guys that we highlighted right at the top of the broadcast, Chibwe and Culver, both with 3 personals. Weston's been a load down low.
And if I'm this officiating crew, I do not, and I know they rotate, I don't want to be the guy on the baseline trying to figure out what's going on with the bigs and how much we should let them play. And that's just That's a part of the game, but you just don't see that many teams and that many matchups when the bigs are as physical and as prominent as these two teams.
So we're at 2:02 to go in the first half. 14 fouls already by West Virginia.
Yeah, just take a look. You didn't need this down here if you're Culver. Just you got position. You're between your man and the ball. Yeah. There's no reason to now make it personal and hit him again. It's easy for the ref to call.
Well, and we saw that earlier with Culver too. Rebound secured. He makes a swipe. It's just a little ticky-tack foul that might be able to keep him on the floor a little longer.
You got to think your way through the game. It's not just about running and jumping and shooting. You got to play the game between your ears as well.
Napper steps back. Napper couldn't get the roll. Here comes Carton in Ohio State. And it's out of bounds off of Carton. This is a big game for Carton too. He has had these tests as a freshman, taking on a North Carolina, taking on a Villanova. Last time out against Kentucky, to where you can get challenged. We'll take a quick timeout, finish our thought right after these words. Watching college hoops on FS1.
West Virginia.
Welcome back to the Roman Cleveland Classic right here on FS1. 6-point lead for Ohio State, and we were talking about DJ Carton a couple of moments ago, Donnie. It's the first time that he's kind of looked like a freshman.
Yeah, you know, and Chris Holtmann wanted to talk to him a little bit about it. Kind of lackadaisical with the effort to go get the ball, and it goes the other way. Holtmann wants to sit the young fella down and talk about it a little bit.
Give to Osaboyan, ran right into Ohio State, and underneath, C.J. Walker was undercutting route, and Walker's going to pick up the personal.
Ohio State foul number 13, C.J.
It's a great job initially, though, of defending, going straight up, if you will. You're playing a verticality, a term we don't hear a lot, but that's basically what it is. Jumping straight up, and as the offensive player comes into you, now the after effects, you just can't reach in. But the initial defense on both ends, challenging the guy who's laying the ball up, has been awesome.
You see a lot of Logan Rout in the final minute of this, and probably in the second half as well, with the foul trouble with Culver and Sheboy for West Virginia, both with 3 fouls in this first half. You see a lot of coaches that won't even play a guy once he gets his second in the first half. 5 to shoot, Muhammad. Free ball for Luther Muhammad.
Newark, New Jersey. You can just see it in his game. He's just the herky-jerky, the cross, and then the pull-up. It's beautiful.
He's got 8. West Virginia having a tough time scoring the basketball lately. Just 1 for their last 8 from the floor. McNeil trying to go around the edge, and Ohio State was going to get the turnover, but a collision between Washington and Muhammad. I think Muhammad got the business end right there.
Great hustle, great effort. Guys fighting. Wow, that's a shoulder. Washington's shoulder to Muhammad's chest. The first thing you look for is that head-to-head, you know, the concussion, and not that the cracked sternum feels any better than a concussion, but that's just great hustle. Both of them up. Everything's good.
Shot clock winding down, and the 3 knocked down by Sean McNeil.
And that's why he's here.
Led the nation in junior college point scoring, 29 a game last year. Now a 3 by C.J. Walker and an air ball, and that will end the half. Despite the air ball, really nice first half from C.J. Walker, and a 5-point, beg your pardon, a 6-point lead for Ohio State.
Wasn't the prettiest. Teams are competing, they're fighting. This is just what you would expect from a game this time of the year, this caliber of teams.
6-point lead for Ohio State after the break. Mike Hill and Jim Jackson will be in Los Angeles with Fox College Hoops halftime report right after this. on FS1. Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in the middle of downtown Cleveland. Our first half stats. See the free throw shooting. It's a big story in this game, but the bench production, massive for West Virginia as well. And welcome back courtside, everybody, along with Donnie Marshall, Jeff Levering with you. Great crowd here this afternoon in Cleveland, but just haven't had a lot of flow for either team.
Yeah, herky-jerky to start the game. I think West Virginia, their spacing was the issue, and that they had to rely on some one-on-one stuff. For Ohio State, it's ball movement. It's be who you are. That's space the ball. Let your big guy, Wesson, down low. Caleb, who hasn't really had an opportunity to go to work. He's only got 8 points. He's got to be the man for his guys. They've survived off of ball movement. Ohio State needs more of that in the second half.
Yeah, a lot of threes. C.J. Walker was great. A couple of big threes knocked down by Dwayne Washington. This is where Ohio State can really thrive.
Yeah, and West Virginia's been slow to the ball in those extra rotations. Carton here with the swing pass across the floor. Better closeout, but at that point, Washington's already made one. He's feeling pretty darn good about himself. And this is not what Bob Huggins wants. You got to take it in a game like this when there aren't a lot of points and, you know, the offensive stall. But McBride has really stepped up. We talked about, you know, where they're getting their points. C.J. Walker's doing a terrific job, but he needs help. He needs help not only from his big down low, but from his other pieces around him. And you know, we talked about West Virginia. Their bench scored 24 points. See it there. They only average about 29, Jeff. So they're at about their maximum. Somebody else has to step up, stay out of foul trouble for West Virginia bigs.
If you're Bob Huggins, you have to be thrilled that you're only down by 6 with the production that you got out of your starting 5, which was almost nothing.
You look at that man on the sideline, and you tell me if he looks thrilled.
Well,
I know what you mean.
It's a loaded question.
I know what you mean. I think he knows they're fortunate to be at that's not a thrilled face, and that's just off of that call. But again, foul trouble has really hampered what their bigs are able to do down low for West Virginia.
That is not thrilled.
That is a meme waiting to be made right there.
Yeah, and Sheboy just picked up his 4th personal 19 seconds into the second half. He has seen the floor very little in this game. A grand total of 5 minutes for Sheboy. So you're going to see a lot of Logan Rout here in the second half. 3 fouls for Culver, 3 fouls, and Culver's not even on the floor to start this second half.
So if you're Ohio State, you're thinking this is our opportunity to take off.
And right down low to Weston, and he missed the dunk. Andre tried to feed his brother. And now a 3. McCabe short. And McCabe, a guy who's a great three-point shooter traditionally, not having a good year this year. Behind the back pass. 10 to shoot for West Virginia. Haley, 3. And off the heel.
And just shot selection, just so poor to start a half for West Virginia. McCabe, I get it. You're open. You want to shoot it.
Wide open, foot on the line, and too strong from Caleb Wesson.
And there's no one really within 5 feet of him. They're daring him to make that shot, West Virginia. That's good defense.
Stripped by Muhammad, a little careless with the basketball. Jermaine Haley. Muhammad, coast to coast, couldn't get it to go, but he is going to go to the free throw line after taking out a cameraman.
That's just heads-up play by Muhammad down low. Ooh, give me that. You got to understand where the defense is. You think the players are tough? Our camera guys are tough, too. Take that hit. Get back up. Hold the cats. A lot of money in your hand right there. You don't want that coming out of your paycheck. You drop that camera.
All the way to the ground. That's a completed catch.
That's right.
That's a sore subject. I'm not going to talk about that.
No.
Sorry. Too soon.
It is too soon.
Muhammad with 10 points. And again, not a guy that you really rely upon for his scoring, more of his defense and his distributing. But 10 points for Luther.
Well, right now, West Virginia needs just ball movement. Your bigs are out of the game, so you have to rely on your teammates moving without the ball, switching sides of the floor to get something open on that other side.
Well, without those bigs on the floor, where does your scoring come from this bunch? As they pick up a foul, the West Virginia fans.
You can hear that sarcastic cheering.
Yep.
Finally got a call, West Virginia.
And the first for Wesson. McNeil, 3.
There's your answer. How do you get him open? And he doesn't have to just take threes. He can score inside of the arc as well.
Guy who can create his own shot. And we mentioned in the first half, 29 points he averaged in junior college last year, led the country. Walker to the right. Nice help. The defensive end, loose ball, tapped around, ends up in the Mountaineers' hands.
Got to make a good decision here in transition. I like that. Don't force anything. Run your stuff.
McNeil, another 3. Ended up on his backside, no whistle.
McNeil's going to have a chance to show and go. Show a shot fake, put the ball on the floor, 1 or 2 dribbles. They respect him from out there.
Muhammad, fancy dribbling, and a great feed into Wesson.
Yeah, all set up by the ability to use your ball handling skills to get into that teeth of the defense. Muhammad scored a couple baskets, so the defense is going to overhelp. It leaves Wesson open on that backside.
Muhammad trying to do some work on McNeil now on the defensive end. Stripped it away. It's going to stay with West Virginia. 10 on the shot clock. Muhammad, Wesson. Nice drive and dish.
Yeah, look, the defense steps up. And now that little guard on the backside, that was McCabe, just isn't there in time to cut off Wesson. Heads up play by Muhammad.
Carton on the floor again. Muhammad has had a nice game. He can assert himself offensively when he wants to. At a career-high 24 at Nebraska last year. In a tough, gritty game. Wesson got into foul trouble as the shot clock had expired. McCabe off the glass. Good possession defensively from Ohio State.
And the way for Ohio State to stretch this thing out right now, keep your spacing. You got to throw it inside and test Culver down low against Wesson. If I'm Caleb Wesson, I'm staying aggressive. I'm not going to be a passer. I'm going to watch that defense go through. Now, if a double team comes, he's going to make the right decision, but he's got to be aggressive down low. And now Culver's guarding Carton on the perimeter. Not the matchup you want if you're West Virginia.
Wesson on Osaboyan. Cross-court pass. Muhammad from the corner. And Culver pulls down the rebound. Culver now with 6 boards, where he makes his biggest contribution on the floor. Down low, and we'll get a foul on Wesson, who held on to Culver. Get another look. Nice dish for Muhammad.
Look at that. Draw 2. Find the 1.
Bob Huggins with a lot of tread on those coaching tires. 37 years the head coach, 16 seasons at Cincinnati, 399 wins, the all-time winningest coach down in Cincinnati. But this is where it started. Look at the bowl cut from Bob Huggins. Walsh College, then he was an assistant at Ohio State for a couple of seasons, and then ended up going to Akron, where he was a head coach from 84 to 89. And just how much he has learned, how much he has done in this sport of college basketball as a head coach to put himself. And you know what? He's earned reactions like that.
Passion. He loves the game. He loves the kids. I mean, got to be in the Hall of Fame somewhere, right? It would be a sin if he gets into the Naismith Hall of Fame and he hasn't been inducted into one of his school's Hall of Fame. It's got to happen at some point, right? I mean, come on. Because he's definitely going to be in the Naismith Hall of Fame.
He has to be.
Has to be.
He's only a handful of wins away from passing Adolph Rupp for 7th all-time. Another miss from West Virginia. He's got the 4th most wins of any active coach. Of course, Krzyzewski, Boeheim, and Roy Williams ahead of him. People don't really realize that Huggins has been around as long as he has.
And another situation, Jeff, where Caleb Wesson has to shoot that ball. He can't be a passer 5 feet from the basket. Not in a game like this.
McBride back on the floor. Leading scorer for West Virginia in that first half, creating his own. And now DJ Carton pushing the tempo. Scoreless in the first half. Ill-advised pass. Out of bounds, another turnover. This is an Ohio State team. The first 10 minutes had 9 turnovers. That's just their 2nd since.
Yeah, he hasn't looked like a freshman a lot this season, DJ Carton. But the one thing I will say is you have to, in transition, make the defense react and then make your play. That, to me, was premeditated. He knew as soon as he cut to the middle, he was passing it, and your teammate just wasn't ready. Make the defense react, and then you make your move if you're going to pass the ball. Otherwise, you got to go straight to the rim and try to score that ball if you're Carton.
It's been over 3 minutes since West Virginia has scored. Down by 6. Osaboyan ran right into Liddell and a chance for a 3-point play. Haven't seen him be very aggressive on the offensive end.
Love Osaboyan's arms are so long. I would love for him, and he makes it happen here. But at this size, you don't need the double clutch. You know, you just don't. You're going to get fouled. I'd love for him to extend up. He's done that multiple times in this game, trying to probably find the contact. He's just so athletically gifted with the long arms. Just go straight up and just continue to be strong with the ball. You'll get the fouls.
6'7", 235 from Toronto. And a transfer from Arkansas where he saw a ton of time in the SEC. Walker looking for help. There's Carton. Walker underneath to Young, and they had it.
I don't know if Young was ready for that pass. They had a lot of butter on this roll. Look at that ball spin. A lot of English.
Trying to pick up the strike in a bowling alley with that spin. McBride. Miles McBride, and maybe this is the run for West Virginia. Down by 1.
And remember, that maroon line, if you will, is the NBA line. He was in between the white. He just has to be behind that white line, the new 3-point line this year in college.
And we're going to get a whistle and an offensive foul. All 3 officials had it. And the crowd coming alive for the Mountaineers.
I don't know, Jeff. I saw 3 officials with a fist in the air. 2 of them, to me, it didn't look like, I don't know, maybe they were just allowing Brooke Wells to make the call down low. And I think that was the right call. And then here McBride continuing to keep his team in this game. Down 1 now.
13 points. Now make it 15 for McBride. The lead back with West Virginia.
Go ahead, young fella. Put the team on your back. Woo!
The freshman from Moeller High School in Cincinnati, a 7-0 run. Down low, stripped away, out of bounds, staying with Ohio State. Here comes Luther Muhammad.
Back for the Buckeyes.
We've seen it a couple times, bad angles on those entry passes. You know, that ball could go one more time to the corner for a better pass. A lot of passes from the top, especially if the big could help you by opening up his chest to the middle of the floor more, but got to get good angles on these passes.
Saw the bench scoring 34 of the 41 points for West Virginia coming from the bench. 1 to shoot. Out of bounds, West Virginia, back-to-back turnovers that they have forced from Ohio State. And now it's Ohio State offensively that looks disjointed.
And defensively, this is a signature of Bob Huggins' teams, regardless of what they do scoring the ball. Now, they're about 75 points a game. West Virginia, but defensively, that's their staple. They make it very difficult for teams.
Down low, Culver was fouled before the shot. Kyle Young will get the personal, and you're starting to see Culver play a lot more aggressive down in the post, even though he's got 3 fouls.
It looks like there's been a concerted effort to have the conversation at halftime to go inside and put pressure on their bigs like they have done to West Virginia in the first half.
Culver lost it. Some slippery hands from Derek Culver.
Again, spacing so important. When you have the ball in that block, slow down a little bit, let your guards cut through, get out of the way so you have more room to work. You're not worried about a guard digging in, trying to fake a double team. Take your time if you're Culver. Slow down a little bit.
Now you've got Caleb Wesson back on the floor for Ohio State. Looking for their first points in about 4.5 minutes. Game of runs.
You know, it's fitting we're in an NBA building because that's what the NBA is all about. Not so much in college, but it's happening today.
Muhammad into the corner. And a second opportunity. Ball loose. And we're going to get a foul on Osaboyan, and he can't believe it.
We've got 5 bodies on the ground. I mean, guys are working their tails off. You gotta love this. This is college basketball at its best. Guys fighting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys on the floor. You just gotta love the fight in these kids. Something had to be called, right, Jeff? I mean,
we've seen so many whistles. It was bound to happen, inadvertent or not.
Wow.
Carton knifing his way through, and Carton still without a point in this game. Washington had it blocked. There was Culver. And now DJ Carton knocks down a big 3. And a timeout on the floor.
And they needed it. He needed it probably more than anybody. But I think he's been pressing a little bit. He understands this is a big game. DJ Carton, these special folks. Ohio State up 2 here in Cleveland. Out of Spring Grove, PA. Juwan Howard doing a terrific job at Michigan, man.
The team is loaded, came in unranked, and then jumped to number 4 out of nowhere. They earned it. They're your 6 teams in the AP Top 25 within the Big Ten Conference. As you see Derek Culver, and you want to know what a big league closeout looks like?
Yeah, listen, this is fearless, but the shot clock almost expired as long as Washington took to get that shot off, man. What are you waiting on?
He had the grip, he had the seams right.
Spun the ball a couple times. But he made the play after that. He did. I got to give him credit. Got the ball back and found Carton for a 3.
And he got 3 points out of the deal, and for Carton, a breath of fresh air for him, I think, to get himself settled in. The final stretch of this game is McBride ran right into Wesson. We'll see who they get. It might be on Muhammad.
You know, yeah, I think it's just a trip.
And Muhammad picks up the personal. Takes us to a quick timeout. 2-point lead, Ohio State in Cleveland. Sold out Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. A ton of yellow and a ton of red here. Not a far drive from Morgantown, just about 3 hours to get to Cleveland. Same distance to get from Columbus right here to Cleveland as well. Intend to shoot for West Virginia. Culver going to work with the left hand.
He really made something out of nothing. Again, their spacing in question there. You got to give your big enough room to be comfortable. You know, you don't want 2 guys guarding 1. Culver made it work, though.
Drive by Washington. Tough shot. He's going to go to the line and shoot a couple. Matthews picks up the personal. Watch the footwork of Culver.
And this is, you got to know, Muhammad's down here waiting to help. and you still go back that way, that's when your teammate has to get out of there. But Culver really made something out of a tough situation with that soft left hand off the glass.
6'10" out of Youngstown, Ohio. Muhammad hits the first. Back to a 1-point lead for Ohio State. Culver a non-factor in the first half because of foul trouble. 6 rebounds, 4 points so far. Washington with 9. And make it 10.
Getting a lot of text messages about why is this game in Cleveland, and I think it's great. I think, you know, this is a site for the NCAA tournament. You get a feel for how the games will be. Plus, it's nice to be on a world tour if you're Chris Holtmann in Ohio State, to show what the rest of the state, what your team has up close and personal. And that's got to be better, though, defensively. Where's the help coming from? There aren't a lot of weapons right now as far as the perimeter is concerned for West Virginia. So the guys who can score are going to score at the rim if they're not shooters. Ohio State's got to do a better job of being on a string and communicating.
Route coming in for Culver as Matthews with a chance for a 3-point play. Sheboy also has been a non-factor. Just 5 minutes played for West Virginia with those 4 fouls. I think you make a great point about this game being played in Cleveland. Between these two fan bases, it's just within the Big 12, West Virginia fans don't have a chance to go see their team on the road very much.
And the travel is just despicable for West Virginia when you talk about conference play. So you're right. It's in the middle. It's not too far.
Carton had it blocked. Going to stay with Ohio State.
It's just you know, you're the number 2 team too. Obviously, you get out of Columbus. It does help your recruiting. Both teams. See them up close and personal, and we talked about the job that Chris Holtmann has done in his short career as a head coach. Some 8, 9, 10 years, somewhere in there.
Carton got swelled up by the Mountaineers there.
He's just looked like a freshman, forcing a bounce pass behind the back in traffic, and then it really turns into this shot clock violation.
Not a good sequence offensively for Ohio State. The ball just was all over the place.
And I don't want to blame it on Carton. To me, that's a cop-out. But when you're scrambling now, you have to make the right decision. It starts with your point guard. And these are games for Carton that you have those really great games as a freshman. All of a sudden, you're brought back down to earth. The reality sets in. And it tells you that, okay, every game's not going to be like Kentucky where I'm blocking shots and I'm making big plays and scoring. These games, I think you learn more from if you're a point guard in college basketball. The ones where you struggle, you got to work your way through.
McBride, a rare miss for the young freshman today who leads all scorers with 15. Listen, for Carton, he's played 2 Big Ten games already. You had those December games early. You've had this loaded schedule for Ohio State, but once the new year hits, you're talking about a gauntlet when you get into the Big Ten. There are no easy games. Inside, Liddell is fouled. He's going to go to the line. Osaboyan picks up the foul.
Hey, the guys don't make it easy on themselves. I thought Muhammad could have shot that little 10-footer, you know, little floater. And these are times of the game when it's getting tight. It's a 1-point game where you don't want to overthink things. You know, if you have an open shot, it's a good shot, high percentage, take it. Sometimes when you make that extra pass 3 feet away, now it gives the defense time to recover. Shots aren't as easy. Now they were bailed out with a foul, but you got to stay aggressive and think your way through this last 9:45. Both sides of the basketball. Don't overthink it.
Liddell, young freshman out of Illinois, 2-time Mr. Basketball in Illinois. Chris Holtmann really likes him. He's got good size, still a little raw with what he does, but he's going to be a good one.
You know, you get in, you trim down a little bit. Your diet's much different when you get to that next level. You know, you see guys around you in the weight room an extra 30 minutes. You're like, oh, maybe this is what I need to do. And he's going to be special, Liddell.
At a career-high 14, and the only loss for Ohio State at Minnesota.
Led Belleville West to 2 state titles in the last 2 years. 2 Mr. Basketball titles in Illinois. Jabari Parker was the last one to do that.
He was a pretty good one.
He wasn't bad.
Nice program at Simeon High School.
Derrick Rose led them to 2. Those are big shoes to fill if you're a guy like E.J. Liddell, but you can see what's out there in front of you, and obviously Chris Holtman sees the same thing in him and in his future.
Liddell checks out. Kyle Young checks back in. Just the depth from this Ohio State team, something they haven't had in years past, and a nice luxury for Chris Holtman. 7 lead changes in this game. Nobody's made that big run yet. The second half has felt a little more flow-driven, though. You haven't had the litany of fouls and whistles and turnovers. Corner 3. Chase Harler off the bench, having a nice day with 8.
Talked to one of the assistants from West Virginia. They talked about him just working his tail off, shot 1,000 shots a day in the summer, and you can see it paying off.
Washington behind the back floater. And right there, Young to clean up the rebound. He tried to go up with it, an offensive foul, lowered the shoulder.
And that's what Emmett Matthews Jr. brings to the game. This is Harler from the corner. Such a nice luxury when you have bigs to be able to have shooters to stretch it out. And look at Matthews Jr. just stepping in. He does so many things, little things that are hard to find in the box sheet, but you need that in games like this.
Napper on the floor. And a 3, everything but the bottom. How did that one not fall? But an offensive rebound, the putback good by Haley, and a chance for a 3-point play the old conventional way.
Hustle. That's what it's all about. Sticking your nose in there. For Ohio State, it's back to fundamentals. Find a body. Anyone in your area, put a body on them. That's just too easy. A lot of gray uniform, the eyes looking at the hoop and not trying to find a body first.
Matthews probably thinking to himself, how does that ball not fall? Toilet bowled around a little bit.
Well, he does have a little side spin on that rotation when it comes out of his hand. If that's, end over end, that ball probably goes in.
Underneath, Wesson. Fouled.
Love that action. Ball popped. There was no holding on to the ball. There was a pick. There was a roll. Gave him an opportunity to catch it in a good spot. And this is just good basketball. The roll, the replace. Young doing a great job high-low. No one down there to help. Napper came in a little bit too late. But that's what you want. You want to put Caleb Wesson, your star, in a good position to force the defense to have to play him or foul him.
Most of his scoring has come from the foul line. 6 of 8 so far. And 6 of 9. Andre Wesson, older brother of Caleb, checks in. Culver back on the floor, replacing Rout. Muhammad out. Trying to snap a 6-0 run right now for West Virginia. And he missed both of them.
Got to stay on that line. You're falling away. Just hang in there for a click longer. Maybe that goes in.
Matthews walked. A little antsy with his drive.
Yeah. That's an easy one out top. It's only you up there. The pivot foot comes off the ground.
Bob Huggins telling him, slow it down.
Yeah.
Be patient.
Well, he took a charge, then shot a 3. Feeling a little better about himself.
We're 8:08 to go, and we're already seeing Bob Huggins go with the offense-defense switch with Rout and Culver, knowing that Culver has those 3 fouls. Walker been quiet in the second half. Wesson drives. Young right there, offensive rebound, fresh 20. Dangerous pass inside Young. Wesson another rebound. Bodies all over the floor. And a walk by Rout.
Timeout on the floor.
This place is getting loud. Folks from Morgantown in full throat in Cleveland. Five-point lead for West Virginia, trying to upset number 2 Ohio State. And the defense, Donnie, has been so good. And for Bob Huggins, you know that's going to be the calling card.
This team has taken the personality, which they always do, of their coach. Aggressive, physical, make it hard, run guys off the line, scramble. I mean, this is West Virginia basketball. This actually, that play looks like my house in the morning getting ready for school with my 3 little ones. We're all over the place. Bathroom, there's oatmeal on the floor. I got to clean that up, wipe this up. But that works in basketball. I mean, that's what West Virginia has done to get themselves back in this game. And there again, you can't come out of a timeout, a much-needed timeout, especially if you're Caleb Wesson, and then turn the basketball over. That is just a cardinal sin, and it gets under most coaches' collars now. Chris Holtmann is cool and calm. He has to be for his team, but I know inside he's like, that just cannot happen. It's unacceptable.
18th turnover for Ohio State in this game. They cleaned it up at the back end of the first half, but this second half, the defense has just ratcheted up even more for West Virginia. We're going to get a walk on Napper.
And now you just do the work defensively, and you come down. That ball did not change hands. Napper dribbled down, he lost it, and then turns the ball over. You just have to be careful with the basketball. We talked to head coach or assistant coach Eric Martin, who was a player for Bob Huggins back in the day, and he said, it's hard to teach our young guys, especially, how precious every possession is, even this time of year, not just in conference play or tournament play, but every game throughout the season. Really what separates the good teams from the bad ones.
Caleb Wesson on the drive, active hands, Osaboyan, and we're going to keep the ball with Ohio State.
I'm not sure why Caleb Wesson is this far away from the basket, handling the ball, trying to beat a guy off the dribble. The shot, okay, if he jumps by you, you go, but I'd love to see him down, even in the mid-post area. Just to put him in a better spot. That's a foul. That's an offensive set, though. The previous one was not, and he's trying to do a little bit too much.
And for Rout, that's his 4th. So you've seen frontline issues big time for West Virginia. Shibwe with 4. He hasn't been on the floor since 19 seconds into the second half. Culver's got 3. Rout has 4. Wesson at the line. You got to make his free throws now. This is crunch time. See Shibwe been a non-factor in the second half. Wesson makes the first.
Ohio State's missed 7 free throws in this game, and this is crunch time. This is when you have to dial it in. You got to focus, and I would assume there's going to be a steady diet of Caleb Wesson getting touches at that free throw line or lower the rest of this game. He's a load, and on the perimeter is not where you want him if you're Ohio State. Now, West Virginia has done a great job of keeping him there, but he's got to fight through that.
Buckeye fans looking for a stop on the defensive end. 3 ball from the corner. Harler short. Osaboyan kept it alive. Tapped out to Young. Here come the Buckeyes. Walker scoreless in the second half. He had 10 in the first half. Inside. And Osaboyan picked another one off. 19th turnover by Ohio State.
Tough angle again. That's great defense. But that ball can go to the corner. You throw that inside. You don't have to be in a hurry if you're Ohio State.
There's Saboyan on the drive. Ran right into Wesson.
Again, that double clutch, though. I want to see him go right to the chest, straight up, elevate. Use those long arms. You don't need the double clutch. You're not going to get that call from the officials.
Wesson, the big question was he going to be able to stay on the floor with all this length and size from West Virginia? He only has one foul. Carton has made just one shot in this game.
Man, there was a great opportunity for Caleb Wesson to roll. The paint was wide open. He popped back, and it left Carton with having to shoot a three.
Andre Wesson with a push picks up his fourth. 3-point lead for West Virginia. Here's that play again.
This is what I'm talking about right here. You're going to come off the pick. All this lane down here. Get down there, big fella. It's wide open. And now Carton really has no place to go but to pull up. Look, listen, it's a hard game to play and think at the same time. It really is, especially when, you get into the thick of it. It's a close game. You're huffing and puffing, but this is what separates those great players from the good ones. And I believe Caleb Wesson is a great one. His last 5.25, it has to be his world.
Haley misses the first. Rout's going to check in for Culver. It's the old line, don't think it only hurts the team.
That's it. That's it. And for West Virginia, look, they keep grinding. They just find ways to get stops. McBride has led them offensively.
Couple of misses from Haley, 2 big free throws, missed opportunities, and when you go back and look at this one for Bob Huggins, the free throw shooting is going to be a glaring statistic. 6 for 15. Inside Wesson, and a foul if it's on route. That's his 5th.
Steady diet. They say in the Northeast where I live, he's hard to guide. Caleb Wesson, if you give it to him in a good spot.
And for Wesson, you mentioned his work down low. He's drawn 7 fouls in this game.
I mean, look, he might not be, blowing us away with his scoring today, but they can't stop him. They have to foul him. He's only got 12 points, but he's affected this game in so many ways, and most importantly is putting fouls on defenders.
So Culver checks back in with his 3 fouls. 1 player out, 4 more with 3. And Wesson makes the first of the 1-and-1.
And Jeff, we talk about West Virginia being the aggressor and being so physical. This is Ohio State's 28th attempt at the foul line today.
And they made them both.
And Ohio State doesn't back down.
Buckeyes getting loud. Culver. And a foul, that's on Caleb Wesson. Just his 2nd.
Ohio State foul, number 34, Caleb Wesson, his 2nd.
So what we talked about in the open was about the bigs.
Yep.
And it feels like both coaches are starting to figure, you know what? It might not have gone the way of the bigs in this game, but we're going to try to make it end with them being the focus on both sides.
Too strong from Culver. It's his first trip to the foul line. 75% free throw shooter this year. Big time improvement from his 58% a year ago, and he makes 1 out of 2.
And that foul line has really been, even though they haven't made any, they've kept the lead by getting to the foul line. 11:49 since they scored their last field goal, West Virginia, 0 for their last 6.
Free ball, Andre Wesson picked a good time to make his first shot. West Virginia looking for an answer. Osaboyan got it blocked. Liddell.
I would love to get him and just say, young fella, he is so strong and powerful. Stop double clutching. You can go through guys and dunk on guys. Oh.
C.J. Walker into the corner. Muhammad. Chance to take the lead for West Virginia. They dial something up for McBride. Got a game-high 15. To shoot. Underneath, look for Culver. With the left hand, lead goes back to West Virginia.
Probably the best set offensively for West Virginia this entire game. They were patient. They kept their space. They let their big guy go to work.
He is so physical. Pick up a foul on Culver. Here we go again. Culver, nice touch. And the eldest, Wesson. All right, thanks, fellas. 1 point lead for West Virginia, trying to pull off the upset of number 2 Ohio State. See our game summary. The second half, it has not been great offense from Ohio State. Credit the defense from West Virginia. But we're looking at trying to score some buckets here. Culver's kind of asserted himself in the second half. Wesson's done all of his work right here from the free throw line.
They could use my big brother in the studio, Jim Jackson. Ohio State right now. They need somebody who can go get a bucket. Really, defensively, if they just stay true to what they are, Ohio State, there's no flat-out scorer right now besides this guy, and that's what you need to do. Step in, but you got to get there sooner. You're relying, West Virginia, on a freshman. Oh, it's going the other way. Wow.
Offensive foul.
This is it.
Number 4, Miles McBride is first.
Yeah, those are always tough calls because I feel that McBride was taking off as, you know, Caleb Wesson's right foot was coming out of the circle, but his body was still squared up. Those are tough calls on the fly, but I think a good one there. And that's really what West Virginia has is a freshman they're relying on to get them a bucket. Before their last bucket by Culver, it was over 8 minutes since their last field goal.
The timeout called by Chris Holtman. Talk things over. 2:50 to play, 16 seconds to go. And if you're Ohio State trying to regain the lead, you got to go into Wesson here at some point. But for just a couple of moments, the 1 point lead for West Virginia. We'll send it back to our guys in Los Angeles, Mike Hill and Jim Jackson with a preview of Michigan UMass Lowell.
Yeah, that's going on FS2, Michigan UMass Lowell. No Isaiah Livers for Michigan. Michigan's lost 3 of their last 5. What do you expect out of the Wolverines today, Jimmy?
Well, a big role today for Brandon Johns, the sophomore out of East Lansing, has an opportunity to establish himself as a key role player for this Michigan team. He has all the skill set. He can shoot it. He's not shooting it well from behind the arc, but he can defend and rebound, so big opportunity for him.
Yeah, just getting underway at Ann Arbor. You see Michigan up 2-0 early on in that game. Once that game is finished there in Cleveland between Ohio State and West Virginia, we'll get you back over there on FS1. But right now, back to Jeff and Don.
All right, thanks, fellas. You see Shibwe on the floor for the first time since 19 seconds into the second half. Foul trouble abound for West Virginia. Rout is already fouled out. You got Shibwe on the floor now in crunch time.
Ohio State, stay within yourself. Don't let the helter-skelter defense get you out of pocket or get you uncomfortable. Keep your spacing. It's got to go to 34 when it's all said and done at the end of the play.
Big question as well, where is C.J. Walker? He had 10 points in the first half as Andre Wesson off the heel into the hands of Matthews.
See, I love the ball going to the basket late in the clock. I just do. I think guys are trying to recover. You put the pressure on the stripes, the officials to make a call. You make it so much easier on the refs and the defense when you take a long three.
Timeout called by West Virginia. They've got
30 seconds.
one left.
West Virginia.
Ohio State with his one timeout left as well. 2:27 to play. And again, we'll take another live look in at Michigan and UMass Lowell from Ann Arbor.
Yeah, once again, guys, the game's going on over at FS2 right now in Ann Arbor, with the Wolverines having lost 3 of their last 5, already up 6-0 in this ball game. Jimmy Jackson.
Well, this is something they need. A quick start, confidence-wise. Your leading scorer is not there, but you don't want to play around with teams that you're, on paper supposed to beat. And right now, Michigan off to a great start.
Yeah, they got to stay focused in this game, because after this game, they get back into Big Ten play against, of course, Michigan State. So they can't afford any slip-ups. They've lost 3 of 5 of those 3 losses against really good teams, against the Illinois and the Louisvilles
and the Oregon.
And the Oregons like that. So we'll see what happens there, but we'll get you over on FS1 once the game in Cleveland is completed between West Virginia and Ohio State. But right now, back to Jeff and Don.
Thanks, Mike and Jim. Like Donnie said, I think Ohio State's looking for a Jim Jackson to create their own plays here, get some offense going.
Defensively, again, you just have to stay in front of guys and keep West Virginia uncomfortable, but that play right there just can't happen. Once you've kind of strung McBride out, coming towards the sideline, you've done your job. Now you got to shoot back, get back into the paint, and you guys have to recover. Also, Muhammad, when you step up as a big to shadow or double team, the guard's responsibility defensively is to tell the big, get back, I'm good, get back. And now West Virginia has a chance to redeem themselves from the foul line. That one didn't want to go in.
Yeah, didn't want to, but it did for McBride, who's got a game-high 16. And putting the game in the hands of a true freshman. Averages just under 8 points a game. He's making a statement underneath the brightest lights of the year for West Virginia. They've got a 3-point lead. West Virginia fans looking for a stop. Walker drives. And an offensive foul on C.J. Walker.
Again, you know what's coming. You just, and again, I think this is the right play by Walker, but you have to be under control. Usually guards will shoot that floater going straight up, but momentum taking them to the defense, that's another huge defensive stop for Bob Huggins' team.
20 turnovers. McBride, jumper, no. Walker taps it out into the hands of Wesson.
Unless you are wide open, this game has to be head down, ball to the front of the rim. Try to make the refs blow the whistle. That's just not a good shot right there. Even if it goes in, you need it, but it's just not a good shot, not a high percentage shot. Someone in your face.
And force from Muhammad, who's usually so patient on the offensive end. 8 to shoot. McBride driving. And underneath Wesson, Miles McBride with his coming out party.
And that's a season high for him. Career high. That's what you want. National stage against the #2 team. And West Virginia's got to try to finish this thing off. And Ohio State has not looked like the Buckeye team that Chris Holtmann is used to. And you got to credit West Virginia's defense speeding up what they're trying to do offensively. Look at this. That's a floater from 18 feet away. Look at Miles McBride. Oh, young fella.
It's a playground type of shot as we take a timeout. from West Virginia. They have one timeout left, 1:01 to play. Ohio State trails by 5. This 5-point lead matches their largest of the game. As you look at their non-conference schedule, this would be obviously their most notable win. The Northern Iowa team is good. Wichita State's been good. But this would be a big one to circle if you're West Virginia, if you can come away and hang on.
Yeah, you got, it's a 5-point game. You got a minute left. It's really going to come down to, in my opinion, taking care of the basketball for West Virginia and then just getting stops. No silly fouls.
But for Ohio State, I mean, they haven't scored in almost 4 minutes. Miles McBride, we talked about the day that he has had. Everybody's going to be paying attention to him now.
Yeah, averages about 8 points a game, and his previous high was 18 versus UNI, and I'm telling you what, this is, you said it, coming out party when they needed him most too. You bigs for West Virginia in foul trouble early, really didn't get a chance to get going. Even Culver, 7 points on the night, or on the day I should say. That's the way you step up, especially as a freshman. That is just huge. It tells you a lot about his character and how athletic the kid is.
Now the bench has been the difference for West Virginia as we see a foul from Ohio State, and this game is going to come down to foul shooting for West Virginia.
I think that's one of those situations where there has to be some communication with the official. And, my college days were about full court pressure. And late game, we tell officials, listen, yes, we're going to foul. As soon as he catches it, just to let him know it's not going to be a flagrant, because some officials see an aggressive foul as being a flagrant. Or we'd say, we're not fouling. We're going to, and I would always go to the close official and say, we're trying to get the steal. We're not trying to foul, because I really believe right there, Terry Weimer thought Ohio State was trying to get the quick foul. Yeah. And Chris Holtman's body language and look tells me differently.
Jordan McCabe with his first 2 points of the game. They're big ones. Largest lead for West Virginia. 7-point lead. Still a ton of time left.
Well, I think you got to have a sense of urgency right now for Ohio State. It's the first best, the first shot and the best shot.
Wesson 3. Wow, not sure if that's the best one, but it falls. His first 3 of the game. And a timeout by Ohio State. That's their last.
Yeah, that was the first available open shot. And he had missed multiple from up there, front rimming him, and that's just how you want your leader, Caleb Wesson, to put the team on his back. Now what you got to do is, now you got to foul quick.
4-point game. West Virginia up by 4. Take a quick peek at what's going on with Michigan and UMass Lowell with Mike and Jim back in L.A.
Yeah, that game going on right now over on FS2 with number 11 Michigan hosting UMass Lowell. Of course, they've lost 3 of their last 5 games, and Michigan already with a 10-point lead here, as expected.
Well, this is a get-back game, and what I mean is get your rhythm back, get your confidence back, figure out things you need to work on, and also it's going to provide quality minutes for a guy like Colin Castleton, also Brandon Johns Jr., to kind of get their feet wet, knowing they're going to get more minutes.
What do you expect out of this Michigan team with Isaiah Livers being out for an indefinite amount of time with that groin injury?
Well, the offense is going to be the same in regards to the sets they run, but, you're not going to get the 3-point shooting from Livers, so they'll be concentrated on more ball movement, maybe get the ball inside the post a little bit, but also get yourself to the free throw line.
This is a Michigan team that had actually been struggling even with Livers on the basketball court offensively. See if they can get things together before they go back to Big Ten play against Michigan State in their next game. Once again, it's a 16-4 lead for Michigan on FS2. Once the game in Cleveland is done, we'll get you over there on FS1 for the Michigan-UMass Lowell game. Back to you guys, Jeff and Donnie.
All right, thanks, fellas. Going down to the wire here in Cleveland. A big 3 knockdown by Caleb Wesson a couple of moments ago to get it to a 4-point game. His first 3 of the afternoon. 1 timeout left for West Virginia. Everybody in the double bonus. You foul or try and steal here, Don.
You got to foul. You got to foul immediately. If you don't get the steal initially, you got to get one there.
And they come away with a steal. Jackson, 3-ball. Washington, no. Offensive rebound by Wesson. Now Caleb Wesson to the rack and a block They wanted a whistle.
Yeah, they got it.
They did get the whistle. So loud in here, you can't hear the whistles blow.
Such a good play right there. And we saw. They told the officials, look, we're trying to steal this ball.
So that was the steal right there. There was no foul on this shot. And they pick up the foul here by Andre Wesson.
That's surprising.
So West Virginia with more free throws coming. That drive by Caleb, just great defense from West Virginia. We thought the foul was there. It's so loud in this building right now, you couldn't hear the whistles.
The West Virginia fans are on the sidelines up. You and I have been bobbing and weaving trying to see plays on the floor. I love the energy. I think Wesson thought he was getting fouled as well.
And McCabe knocks down the first, one of the best free throw shooters on the team. They've made 6 straight foul shots.
They've missed 10 on the day, West Virginia, but they're making them at the right time.
McCabe from Kaukauna, Wisconsin, makes 2 straight. He's 4 for 4 in his last 2 trips. Washington upset with himself after missing the 3 initially. And you look at this 10-3 run, Bob Huggins, Chris Holtman going down to the wire. All you could want before conference play again. Carton driving, swatted away by Culver. Big second half for the sophomore Derek Culver.
It's a great setup, good ball pressure. McCabe, freshman on freshman without fouling. Rely on your big guy to clean it up over the top.
26 seconds to go. Oh, pass intercepted. Here comes West Virginia. Harler. Mountaineers feeling the upset. Washington hits the floater. Quiets the crowd for a moment. No timeouts left for Ohio State. Harler. They break the press. You got a foul here. And there it is finally, but 10 seconds played off that clock. And West Virginia and the Mountaineers are 6 and change away from a huge victory.
Tell you what, you hold the number 2 team in the country to 30% field goal shooting. That tells you exactly about the toughness of West Virginia. And at times, they couldn't buy a basket. They didn't know where their scoring was coming from. Foul trouble early for their 2 bigs. Guys stepped up, and more importantly, they played defense as a team, as a unit. To me, that was the difference in this game, defensively.
And McBride gets to 20 points, the freshman from Cincinnati. Career game for him. When you were looking for scoring from West Virginia, McBride answered that question. Nails to game-high 21. And Ohio State, Carton for 3. And that is how this one ends. An 8-point win for West Virginia here in Cleveland. A nice embrace between Holtman and Huggins. But a really impressive defensive effort from West Virginia to knock off number 2 Ohio State.
We talked to Bob Huggins before the game. He was under the weather, not feeling great. You know, he said this is a game where we come out and compete. We have an opportunity. And it wasn't pretty at times, but sometimes these games are set up for games like West Virginia where they can play pretty, they can play ugly, they make you play their way. Defensively, I'm so impressed. Not surprised, but impressed with the way Bob Huggins' team performed today.
What a great atmosphere for this game today, too.
Amazing. You get a touch of March Madness in December. This is just a special, special game. Both teams